Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Let's make a paint stir stick lantern. Almost said candle. Lantern. Um, there I gave you a list of the wood sizes. And I know you didn't have enough time to write it down. You'll have to pause it there. Because I'm lucky, I figured out how to do that. I even put it on the side of the screen to begin with. So I'm gonna paint this piece of scrapbook, or it's not scrapbook paper, it's cardstock. But it turns out that I can't make it work with the paper pieces that I make. I really put a lot of time into it. I paint this all white on both sides so that you can't see through it. And then I use some stamps. And I stamp a moon into two and a sun onto two pieces the size of my wood, and I want them to go into the middle of the lantern, and I carve them out so that the light will shine through the moon and the sun. And I spent a lot of time on it just to have it not work out, and I cut some of it out, or I really tried hard to make it work. I don't know exactly why I couldn't get it to work, but I end up changing it up at the end, and adding a little wood cutout, die cutout sign that I got from the Dollar Tree that says Cherish. There was 3 in a package, and I always wondered what I was going to do with those. When I found them, I knew I wanted them, but I've had them for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, and couldn't figure out what in the world am I going to do with those little cutouts. So anyways, I'm showing you how badly some of these paint sticks are bowed. Don't use those unless you have to, because you can always find something later to use those on, maybe to brace a sign, or something like that. So I've heard some crafters say don't. Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked already. But anyways, the paper lantern that I had intended to make, some of the footage I could cut out, and some of it I couldn't because it had other things on that segment of the video with it. Excuse me, and I am not good at cutting and splicing and all that good stuff. Okay, so here I took the wood pieces, and I'm trying to show you the sizes, but those are wrong. So don't zoom in on that. Those are I did not account for the 1/8 inch stir stick, the width, is that right? The depth of the stir stick, so they didn't work out and I had to recut. But anyways, I show, here I'm actually putting the piece of wood down thinking, oh, this is a really good deal or idea, and it wasn't because of the thickness. So I dropped these sizes down, and I untaped my paint stir sticks just to end up retaping them, but I had to do it the way that I did it. Something about my brain that does things either backwards or sideways. I don't know. But anyways, I did use up some of the scrap pieces of wood that I have from other projects, so this turned out to be a really good project for that. I used up several pieces of leftover wood, as you can see here. I wanted to cut these, I wanted to tape it together and cut these on my brand spanking new chop saw. It's not a table saw, what is it? I don't know, it's a chop saw, was what we always called it at the mold shop I worked in. But anyways, the kids were asleep, so I went into the other room and used my scroll saw, which, if you've ever used a scroll saw, you know that they didn't come out even. I actually did a really good job on them though, so they did turn out good after I got the right size. And again, I'm fighting with Cottonmouth here. Okay, you can see pencil marks from a project that I had done before, and I am sanding at those pencil marks, but it turns out I used an eraser on them and it came off really well. But these wood pieces aren't even straight. They are crooked because they were cut with a circular saw. My husband, when he made my bench, he had some, leftover pieces, but yeah, it's not even there, and I'm not even going to try to make it even because it doesn't affect the appearance of the lantern. It actually looks very rustic, and you can see the blade marks in the wood, but it turns out looking really cute. I absolutely love it. I would have loved it more had it been the paper with the cutouts so that you could see that with the candle in the center. Excuse me. But I saw the two pieces of wood and I thought, now what can I do with these? And I knew that I wanted to make a lantern, but I haven't tried the racetrack lantern. I think that they're cute, but it doesn't seem like a project that I would want to do. And you know what? I said that about the gnomes also. I think they're really cute, but I never thought I'd want to make one, but I did. I turned around and made one. So maybe someday I'll make the racetrack lantern too. But anyways, I'm just using the Waverly Antique Wax and there's probably an easier way to paint these skewers, but yeah, it took me a minute. But I love using bamboo because it mimics wood so well, and it's so much easier to cut. It's so much easier to work with. But this is just a tiny skewer. It's not, full coverage is not that important. You only see just a tiny bit of the stick after the lantern's completely done. I am really close to my camera here, trying to make sure that I'm loud enough. I don't want to yell because the kids are asleep in the room next door. So hopefully my audio is okay, and I know my last video, the audio dropped right off on it. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's my microphone. Sometimes it seems to work fine and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so anyways, you're just going to continue painting all this wood. I go through and I proof watch the video, but sometimes I skip through it pretty quick because it's time consuming. If this this video is 38 minutes long, so if you figure I go through and I proof watch it and then I come on and I do the voiceover, that's a lot of time to sit here and watch the same thing, watch myself do the same thing over and over. But it's necessary, and I think I'm getting better at it. The last video I did, I thought I did really well, except for the audio. The audio quality. I thought I said something wrong there. I drop off, and I apologize for that. I keep forgetting about it, and I've noticed it. My husband would tell me, I can't hear you, your voice, you let your voice drop off, and I'm like, no, I don't. But now that I hear myself on video, I see that he's right, but don't tell him I said that. I'll never admit it. I'll never admit it to him. So anyway, I sped this up you know, some places more, you know, more so than others. But like I said, you know, in one of my other videos, I don't like it when you're watching a video and they speed it up so much that you can't even see what's going on. You know, I want you to be able to see, you know, this part. I mean, this part's pretty cut and dry, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. You know, there I'm showing you where I figured out that my measurements were wrong, that I needed to take off an extra, I think it was an extra 1/8 of an inch, because that's how thick the paint stir sticks are. I didn't account for that in my original measurements, but I did well with this project. And you'll see me, I put these together and then I'll put the other pieces on, then they'll fall apart. I'll put the glue in the wrong place, not once, but twice or possibly 3 times. And you see me making sure here, checking my wood to make sure that I'm getting the right size on, because they're all laying there in a big pile. I just kind of cut the tape off of them and left them all laying there, and of course I have 2 different sides. Now here's where I believe I put my glue on. It needs to go into the inside of the other 2, and I put it like it's going to be on the outside. So this is blooper number 1 here, and then I realize it and I'm like, wait, that don't look square. Now what the heck? I always stick my big nose in front of the camera when I make a mistake. Oh, I'm just trying to be cute. Did it work? Anyways, this is fun for me. I love working with wood. I'm not good at the measuring part. I get confused sometimes. It's like you'll see me, you know, more than once. Check, double check, triple check, because I don't have a lot of common sense when it comes to fractions and whatnot. Simple fractions I can do just fine, but if you put me into that timesing this and dividing that, you've already lost me. I mean, when it comes to fractions, I can times, you know, I can multiply, I can divide regular numbers given a piece of paper and enough time. But when it comes to fractions, you start to lose me after, if it's not a simple fraction, you start to lose me after we get into the dividing and the, you know, things like that. So you always see me in all of my videos when the when the hot glue gushes out, I always take the time to scrape it off while it's still hot. If you don't scrape it off while it's hot, if you wait for it to cool off, then you kind of have to cut it off, or you really got to pinch your fingernail in there and you take off some of your finish. Now see, I was picking the hot glue off and it fell apart. And this happens to me a lot because I won't stop picking that glue off. I don't know if I just need to give it up and just leave the hot glue on there. I don't like it when I go into a store or I've bought something that you can see where the glue has gushed out. I just don't like that, and I don't want to be that way. Okay, so there's my little shim there. It's a it's my gauge that I make sure that I wanted to have my slats that far apart. So I had taken the 2 popsicle sticks, craft sticks, and there's one regular size craft stick, half of it in the middle between the 2 larger ones, just as a guide as to, you know, how far up or how big I want my gap between the slats to be. So and it worked out well. It was kind of you know, it was homemade, but okay, so I'm uneven. It's, you can see it tilting back and forth, so I take one of the skewers off here and I fix it, because, you know, I found out which one was shorter than the rest, and I go ahead and fix it right away. You don't want to wait, you know, because you're going to be putting more on there, so you want to go ahead and fix that right away if you have any trouble like that. This came out, it's not square, it's a, you know, it's a slight rectangle, but it came out so good once I got going on it. And you'll still see me checking to see which piece of wood that I have. Do I have the shorter one? Do I have the taller one? And then you'll watch. I'll hesitate before I glue them, because it's that whole measure twice and cut once, except it for me. See, I just did it there. I pulled that thing down just to make sure I knew which side went in, which side went out. You know, which end do I actually glue together, you know, just to make sure before I actually glued it. And you'll see me put on the glue in the wrong spot again pretty soon, I'm sure, but it's all trial and error. Once I got going on it, I got good at it, but I get good at it right about the time that I'm done with it. So anyway, we're just going to make these little rectangles, and then you're going to see me carve out well, I might have cut it out. I cut out some of the paper footage. I just tried to make sure that I didn't cut out anything important, but you can see what I'm doing. Definitely get the gist of what I'm doing here. And I just think it turns out so cute. And I used a scroll saw, but you can use, so I have miter shears, and you know, it's got a pretty long blade on it, so you can use the miter shears to cut the paint sticks. You just have to turn it around. You'll have to cut through part of it and then turn around and cut through the other part, and it might take a couple, you know, tries to get through each stick, but it is possible to do. Excuse me. If you use wire cutters, it pinches the wood, flattens it. So anyway, so I used my shim there, and then I put some, I'd already put the wood glue around it on each of the skewers, and then I put my piece on. Oops, I moved the camera. And then, you know, then I make sure it's where I want it to be, put a dab of hot glue on it, check it again, wait for that hot glue to dry, check it again, and then put another big glob of hot glue. So here we go with the paper. I don't know if there's something on this one, you know, that I needed to show, but I really did. I worked hard on this. You know, I took my X-Acto knife and I carved out those images, and just for it to end up not working was a big disappointment. But I'll probably live, you know. But anyways, I'm not 100% sure why I couldn't make it work. Now, I did go back in and, you know, you see me cut it all the same size. And I did go back in and trim my pieces to, you know, because it's a rectangle, it's not a square. And anyway, so I used the bamboo sticks. I put them completely on the outside. I don't know if maybe it was the hot glue that I used to stick the bamboo skewers, you know, onto the paper and then onto each other. I'm not sure if that hot glue caused them to not work right, but it did not work right. When I put it down on there, like I did with the paint sticks, it just would not go on right, no matter what I did. So anyways, I cut these, you know, I made sure that I had the two different sides. And I probably could have cut this piece of video out. I must have missed it, but I spent a lot of time on this. I was so disappointed. I can remember I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm just done. I went upstairs. It was a good idea. So I wished I would have cut this part out. Now that I see it. Anyway, so you do 2 suns and 2 moons. And when you carve, when you go to trace these out with your X-Acto knife, remember you can't cut the tips. So you're going, any line that you're making, you can't cut all the way through the tip, or it's just all going to fall out. You're going to cut it out of the paper. So I went through all the motions of showing you how I do it. I think there's some ghost in the machine or something, because I swear I cut these out. I am so sorry that you have to sit through this for something that didn't work out, didn't turn out. I apologize. But I was so proud of it. I really was. Maybe that's why I just wanted to brag. No, that's not it. It worked out that way. Bragging about how cute it would have been, and I keep picking it up, and I put it up towards the light to look through it, and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be so good, it's going to be so nice. But yeah, anyways, just remember, if you do this, know your stopping point so you don't cut all the way through it. Oh my goodness. There's video in there that I took out. I don't know how that happened. And I'm gonna have to go back through and restart this whole thing if I cut these out. Cut these pieces out. Darn it. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, you see how I did there. You just cut the ends, or you cut up to the end and you don't cut the end off. I even cut around the little face there. I don't cut the face out. I just use it just as a sun and a moon. I don't cut their faces. Just the outline of the... Let's see. And then I guess we're going to torturously go through this. No, we're not. Okay, anyways, if nothing else, it shows you that we all make mistakes. I thought about redoing this and, going back in and cutting all this paperwork out, but it's still only a 38-minute video, so it doesn't hurt, and I really am proud of the job I did with these. I was really sick that it didn't work out for me, that I couldn't get it to work. So I think what I did was I left some of this video in so you could see, this is what I planned on, this is what I did, and then I cut out the parts, the frustration of trying it again and again and again and again, trying to get it to work. So I think that's all I did, was I left it in so that you may be able to do it, and maybe you can make it work. I just couldn't get it to work. I thought it was a great idea. A type of a paper lantern. Of course, it's not all going to be made out of paper. But see, when I glued it together there, I glued it barely on the tip. And now I didn't cut the bamboo skewer. I'm just cutting a piece of paper off the edge, the piece that had the glue stuck to it. So when I go to put this, when I get this all put together and I go to put it onto the skewers, it just won't, it's just not the right size, I guess. And then I tried and I tried and I tried to make it work. I did. I really put a lot of time into trying to make it work. So sad that it didn't work. I am going to make another one. I think I'll make a smaller one this time though. and I am going to make it work. I promise you. And I'll probably even do a video to show you. And probably nobody will even watch this video anyway. Just kidding. If you're hearing me, you're obviously watching it. Anyway, someday, see here, I put the hot glue down in there. That's probably why I couldn't get it to work. Okay, so that's where I ended. I cut out the rest of the footage there. And here I'm cutting out, so since I had to switch to this word cherish, I'm cutting out 3/4 inch pieces so that when I put it together with the word, it comes out to 5 1/8 inch. So with the 3/4 piece on each side of the word cherish, it comes out to 5 1/8 inch. So then I put those pieces, I'm going to glue the small pieces on. See, I'm just using the little scrap wood now. When I glue those together, when I glue those little pieces onto the cherish, it comes out to the right size. Goes together beautifully, and then it goes onto the lantern beautifully. And there's not a whole lot. I'm showing you that it came out to 5 1/8. There's not a whole lot to glue to on these. So obviously on the C side, I have a little bit more room than I do on the how do you spell cherish? The H. The H side, you have just a tiny little bit that touches, and that was a little bit more difficult. But once I got it on there, once I just used the hot glue there, once I got that on there, it was really strong. I was surprised because I got one of them a little bit crooked, and when I went back in to try to move point the H up a little bit on it, it was surprisingly sturdy. So I go ahead and do this side, and then I pick it up and put the glue on the H instead of like I did on the last one, and put a little dab of glue on the 3/4 inch piece. It was kind of I kind of got lucky that I did that right. So don't forget to turn your word around before you glue. I'm surprised that I remembered that, but I did. And then, I have mine so that the small pieces go on the outside of the bigger pieces. Now here I'm putting it in the wrong spot. Yep. Did it again. Anyway, I had a lot of fun making this lantern, except when the paper didn't work. I got up to that point, and then I was so frustrated. But at that point, excuse me, even when I laid down to take a nap, that's all I could think about was why that didn't work. Why? And I'm not kidding. So I came up with this in my pre-sleep state. I was like, wait a minute, I have those words that I bought a long time ago, and the light would come through those really nicely. And I did that while I was laying up there getting ready to take a nap. Or I was kind of like partially asleep, and my brain went, hey, wake up. Guess what? And usually when it does that, it's something bad. Something really bad. But anyways, I do like how it turned out. I'm still disappointed. I'm just reinforcing the letters there, or the word, to make sure that there is enough glue on it to hold it. And of course, when this is all put together, you can't use a real candle in it. Do not use a real candle. I feel like maybe I shouldn't have to say that, but just in case. I mean, you don't ever want to use a candle for wood or paper or anything like that. And probably if you paint something, you probably don't want to use a candle in it. It might send off some noxious fumes. So anyways, here I am putting it all together, and it just slid on there like nobody's business. I just can't figure out why that darned old paper wouldn't work. But anyway, so when I get to the top, I decide to go ahead and glue the top down to the rest of the lantern. So I'll get another piece on here, and then I'm going to cut the bamboo skewers off. I cut out another piece of video, but I cut the skewers off at the top, and then I put wax, the Waverly Antique wax, on them. You're not even going to see that. Maybe I didn't know that at the time, but anyway, so I glue the top completely to the rest of the lantern so that when you lift it off, the whole piece comes up and you put your candle in. So I did it that way because I didn't want to have the loose piece on top. So it sits on the bottom piece with its little feet. It's not secured. And the top piece, I put 2 tumbling tower blocks to make a little knobby handle there. And you just lift the whole thing up. Sorry, I got engrossed in my video there. So anyways, it's very sturdy, so that Gorilla Wood glue must be really good, because I mean, it's sturdy as can be. You can wiggle it back and forth and everything. I always do that with everything I make, just to see how good of a job I did. But so I had the one skewer that didn't want to stay in the corner, so I really had to fight with that one to keep it up against the corner where it should be. But I did it, and here it is. And like I said, I took the footage out because there was something else that was on there that was just unnecessary. So anyways, I just cut the skewers off as flat as I could, and you'll see here I didn't get one of them as flat as I wanted it to be. It was sticking out quite a bit, so just the one though. And I ended up using my X-Acto knife to cut it down a little bit. I am so sorry, I have dry throat. I guess I could never be an announcer. So I didn't miss my calling. Anyway, I did have a lot of fun mostly making this. After I see the end result, it always, what they say, the end justifies the means. I guess that means that all the trouble and the hard work that you put into it shows up at the end, at the end result. So anyways, I say this is boring. I said that in my last video, but it's not boring to watch something that you want to do. But for the person that made the video, like I said, I pre-watched it and then went back into this clip and cut it down, went back into that clip and cut it down, then re-watched it, then so you go through several stages of watching the video, which makes it a little monotonous after you're watching this segment for the 4th time or whatever. But I love watching videos. I love getting on and watching the crafting videos. The mostly women. There's a couple men I've watched, but I don't get bored when I'm watching them. So I have to think, that this, just because I've seen it, 4 times already. Anyway, this, it turned out really well, and I'm lucky, I feel lucky that, I don't feel like, how do I want to say that? I don't feel like I'm really knowledgeable when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. So I feel like I get lucky sometimes that things work out, but I mean, I did the measuring, I did the planning, and this turned out really well. So here I'm going to do the tumbling tower blocks. This wood glue is really good, I had to say. So is the Titebond. I like the Titebond too. So I just put some glue on there and then put it together, so it doesn't really matter because you're only going to go on there one way. But then I'm going to glue this to the top, and I'm going to put my Gorilla Glue on, place it onto the top. I'm going to center it really well, place it onto the top, and then put my hot glue on, and then I've already got my glue dots on there to show me where to go, so I don't have to mess around with the hot glue. So anyway, I think it turned out it's really rustic. It's going to go up on my dining room table, and of course, I'm going to use my little faux candles. I think my granddaughters are going to love it when they see it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. Do this project. It's absolutely rustic. If you have a rustic look in your home, this will work perfect. This will go perfect with it. Cherish might not be the best word, but it was all I had. It was all I had, and like I said, my mind came up with it while I was just about to sleep. So, alright, this video is going to end in a few minutes. Please hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very lovely day. See, it looks very pretty when it's lit up. Now I'm going to do another little video here to show you with the light out. See, it turned out really well. I'm patting myself on the back here. Patting myself on the back. Look at how pretty that is. How nice that turned out. Now there you can see all the way through to the back side, so you can't really tell what it reads. Alright, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.